So, now we'll be talking about 2013 to say 2014. There may be some 2015 sprinkled in there, but I really don't remember that time. So it's kind of going off of whatever I'm thinking right now. So for sure, 2013 to 2014. So I'd like to follow up because we did stop in 2013 last time, and just say that that loneliness that I felt, it did continue. And the summer between middle school and high school was filled with lots of games, of course. So of course I was probably still playing lots of Xbox, probably, and some Minecraft on the computer. However, uh, during that summer, I keep saying I'm gonna stop. So during that summer or that year, I would get into, well, one, GTA 5 would come out, and that was definitely a big thing that ate up a lot of my time with my friends because everybody liked that game, and I think a lot of people still do. Uh, Additionally, I also got into World of Warcraft. My cousin, who's just like a year younger than me, he was really into it, and I toured his house, and I seen him play it, and I thought it was cool. There was a point in time where I thought RuneScape was better, and then I played WoW, and I had a different shift, and I was like, oh my god, like RuneScape, stupid. Though I do kind of play them both now, occasionally. So now that we got that out of the way, I guess that's kind of the forefront of these years actually, because I was lonely, and so in World of Warcraft, I would make a guild, and I recruited lots of people. It, you're gonna cringe if you do play WoW. It was mainly a social guild because I was terrible at the game when I first started. I started during Mist of Pandaria. I was an Alliance rogue on a PvP server. Uh, I don't know. But I was very outgoing, and I was able to get lots of people to join the guild, and we talked all the time, mainly over text chat. If we ever spoke, it was probably Ventrilo or Mumble. Later on, it's probably a few years flash forward, like Curse chat. I feel like I'm missing one. TeamSpeak. We may have talked there, but it was mainly text chat and guild chat, or whenever we were in a group doing casual content. I'd host like big. I'd arrange for everyone in our realm to go kill world bosses, which was really cool. It's also a nice advertisement for the guild. uh, so I'm gonna slow down a little bit here. So in the midst of that, I did meet one friend. Little side story here. We'll just call him Jay. We got along so well that we talked for forever and ever and ever. Even I still occasionally talk to him now. They did live in a different country, and last year I went to visit them. It was pretty cool. Uh, Back to 2013, there was another person I had met when being in my own guild, recruiting people, making friends, and we're gonna call them. We'll just call them Pink, for ease. The color pink. And she was she was better than me at the game, and she helped me learn how to play my class. At that time, I had swapped to a Death Knight. Still play Death Knight, and so she showed me like reforging and all that, and helped me like do enchants and stuff because like I was just really tone deaf on that stuff, and we were really Garrosh was basically on farm at that point because he'd been out for so long. Uh, Again, if you're there, it was a long wait for Warlord to Draenor. So yeah, this Pink got we got friendly enough where I gave her my phone number and we talk a lot on the WoW app, and she kind of filled a role that at the time it was impossible for my parents to fill because I enjoyed playing video games and I really liked WoW, and WoW I could talk to people, and I feel like a lot of my happiness came from the game, and because I kind of threw out or made it difficult for my parents to reach me. Uh, Not that I necessarily wanted them, I just feel like that Pink filled that role for me because she was teaching me things. She was emotional, very supportive emotionally. Um, but this was problem is that she had my phone number and she talked to me all the time, even when I was at school and class. And of course, I ate it up. I liked that attention. I got more attention from her in the time that I known her than many people I've talked to. It was just so pungent. Um, so my dad gets a phone bill, and he's like, "Do you recognize this number? This is from a different state. Who are you talking to? Can you tell me?" And I'm like, "Sure, I know her name. I remember it now." It was like you're in trouble with your parents, sort of thing, like bone hurting juice. Like, oh no, like cat's out of the bag. It's over, guys. However, at the time, I didn't really see it as a bad thing. Again, Pink filled a role for me emotionally, and maybe even as a parent that wasn't being filled at that time, and it was hard to fill afterwards. But after being told not to talk to her, of course, feeling the way that I described to you, I continued to talk to her, and parents got mad. Uh, they're like, "I don't want you playing that game anymore," which was also really sucked. And they also got the police involved, so I got interrogated, and uh, weird timing is my dad had asked me to delete the app, and when you delete the WoW app or like your messages, or like your iPhone messages, they're just gone. And so when the cops had came, they're like, "Okay, like, do you have anything for us? Just show us. Can you tell us anything?" And so like I knew her name, and I had her phone number, but that's all I had. I had none of the messages. Even Skype. Oh my God, we'd Skype. Yeah, hmm. That's another tell. That's another tell. I kind of skipped over that. Is that we would Skype, we would video call, and she'd like ask me for like pictures occasionally, not of anywhere below the screen. It was I don't know. It's strange. So turns out she's like 29 years old or 39. She has two kids. She has like a dog, and she has a husband. And she's like, I don't know. To simplify terms, she's like attempting to e-date or groom young men like myself at the time. I was probably 14 or 15. Yeah, something like that. And yeah, and so like the cops call her. The cops couldn't reach her, so they called her husband, and I guess her husband got mad at her, and but at the time she still played the game, and I found this out because some of the friends that I had made had reached out and would tell me that she misses me, and that she's kind of like got a new favorite, or had a new favorite in a way to. So it was just this older woman who is just kind of dipping her hand in this little candy jar So that's weird. I don't know. You get the point. I'm sure. Like I wasn't the only one, uh, and I'm sure that I'm not the only one that was ever special to her. It was just my experience with being groomed is I don't feel all that too terribly bad about it, and I may have had it. I'm not gonna talk about my experience. I at the time, and maybe like since I'm looking at it from so far away. No, no, never mind. It's just like at the time, like this was like a terrible thing. It was like someone died. I was so sad. I was sad. I was crying. Like, it was like someone died, or like I got broken up with. It was a terrible feeling. It was a terrible feeling in my chest. It hurt. I was uh, strange. And like I mentioned earlier, I had to leave. They wanted me to stop playing that game, and there's a function in World of Warcraft where you can change servers. And I did end up having some of those friends join me on that new server that weren't really entwined with her. Uh, but with that change, it did drastically affect the my connection with the other people there, and um, it was never the same after that. So I have one last thing to mention here, because I've kind of forgot to mention school, or I guess I've been saving it for last. I feel like that I don't remember a lot of it is because I was just much happier at home playing games and talking to people online. There was a class, it was a print shop class, where you make shirts and you print on other things like manually. That's whatever. Basically, like one of the main things about the class is you print designs on shirts, and it's way more complicated than you think. Uh, I'm not. I can't. It's so long ago. I can't even begin to explain. And I didn't get to finish that class. Uh, so as it was, it was my final period. So you had like a stacking schedule. So one day you'd have a different last class, and the next day you'd have another. So, yeah. So this was one of the classes that was my last class, and so I'd always would make a point for this teacher mainly uh, to say to tell him bye. I don't know. It was just some sort of thing in my head that I remember doing all the time. It was just like he needed to know that I was saying bye. I'm like, hey, bye, man. Um, Before we get super serious, uh, terrible placement for a last. For someone like me, for it was probably like the farthest placed classroom that I've had during the 4 years there, from where my car would be, so I could like run to my car after class is done, because I had like a job to get to like for 55 minutes after my school ends, so I had to like run the whole like, football yard of a school basically, then to my car, and then drive all the way home, get dressed, eat, shower, go to work, basically pass out. So tired. I'd always be hugging that door, waiting for the beep, and then bolt. I was probably the most fit person. It's probably the most fit that I've ever been when I was in high school, running like that all the time. Okay, so back to saying goodbye. So there was one day, of course, that I did not say goodbye, and it was Friday. And over that weekend, that particular teacher had committed suicide with a gun. Um, and not saying goodbye, and remembering that I didn't say goodbye, it really just ate at me. Uh, and And again, I was displaced out of an environment that I enjoyed in, and I had to do another class. Um, but mainly, I lost someone who was cool, or we lost someone who was cool. So I'll tell you to end this a little differently than usual. I want to share like my kind of like philosophy on saying goodbyes now. So we're kind of stepping out of that 2014 region. Is I actually like to avoid the word bye. I like to say kind of neutral things like see ya or or bye for now, deciding that there may be a return or or fuck you, just as as a joke. So I also don't like to. I don't like people watching me drive away on my car. That's a later story, though. Well, you know how it is.